Hello, welcome back to our class. Today, we're going to learn about Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Part 2. All about Chapter 6, Part 2 is the war. And this is about France and Britain's war. And this is also the war about Canada's independence. So far, so good. Far away is Canada. Canada is just laid enough in America. This war begins when France and Britain settlers come onto the land and live there. The French and the British are enemies, and they always fight with each other and to quarrel with each other to see who is going to be the leader of themselves. And then, after a few wars, the French finally surrendered to the British. And then British settlers overcrowded and take French settlers so that Britain can take over French settlers. And then they began to settle more and more Native American land, and so did the Canadians. The British separated the French and the British by letting the French living in the lower part of the canyon, and the British living on the higher canyon. And so this war began to go on. More and more French settlers are saying that they are not giving themselves good treated good, and they also cannot give their own leaders. So they began to fight. But all of them doesn't want to fight Great Britain. So one young man, the Valasha, began to fight. He gathered a little army and some followers and his friends armed themselves and get ready to fight. So they fighted this war, and then the army was crushed, and the army also broke apart. Johnny had to flee to another country, and there he had to hide in it. And he knew if the British found him, then they will arrest him and shot him for treason. So he dressed himself short body and his skirt with women dresses and women's skirts. A man with woman dress and woman skirts. That's a weird one. There's nothing weird woman thinks. And then he planned to sneak around to America. And there, another man called Louis Lavalda saw his chance to get the lower parts independence. So even though he was a man living in the upper canyon, he also wanted to help. So he gathered a little big army and fought against the British. Many of them doesn't want to fight against the British. So only a few of them agreed. So they fight against the British, and then his army all crushed the British. But the British wasn't ready to give up. More and more soldiers began to join the army, and then finally his little army was crushed, and he had to flee into America. Many settlers also doesn't want to be the Americans as well, so that they can live in peace, rather than to be in Britain. Then another war they're going to let. But before that war came, Li Huishihua begged the British to stop and think what are they doing. But his pleas didn't work. They started to fight again. So they fight, and fight for a long time. After 40 years of fighting, 40 years, then finally the British stopped fighting, but they refused to give up. Instead of giving up, they sent a general to the colony, to the French, and then let him to find out what will stop them from another rebellion form. When the man came back, he says, if only we give them their own government and their own constitution, they will stop rebelling, because they were rebelling because they doesn't have any rights to choose their leaders. And so in 1845, the British king finally agreed to give the French lots and lots of officials, and then chose their own leaders. So they give the French lots and lots of officials, and let the French choose which of them should be their own leader, and this leader will have to tell the king what to do. So even though that they have lots of different officials, they still argue with each other, because none of the officials can take power for the French. So they chose one of the officials, and then they still cannot choose a good official to become the king. So they finally write a constitution instead. France is going to be writing a constitution. It is not free from Great Britain, but it will have its own constitution and its own rights. Even though the French was under British rule, it will still keep their language and their thing. I forgot the word. It's the culture. Yes, the culture. And their own little place, even though they was ruled under British rule. And I'm afraid so this is the end, because that was all. So I will see you next time. Bye bye.